So please reclone Mars photos and git restaurant app. Clone it again, because previous version is probably with different version numbers. Okay? It's important. Please clone these two. I already cloned it. I have it in folder. You know how to clone it. So these two. Okay. I will open Mars photos first. By the way, if you didn't update Android Studio, please do so. It is current version is patch 2. Ladybug, patch 2. As the same, it's important if it is previous version, something will go wrong with different library number, and possibilities of messing up in this direction endless. Okay? So, and again, if you didn't update it, run update. It should be patch 2. Now, when you open Mars photos, it may open version which is main, because main is default, right? But I want you to use using hilt, because this is copy-pastable, but main is not. Because it's older code and it's not using hilt. And the other example, which is restaurant app, which is provided for explanation and copy-paste purpose, also using hilt. So please use hilt. Okay. If you don't, you will create extra adventures for yourself. Okay. That may take time to resolve. Okay. For Mars photos version, it is using hilt, and make sure it is freshly cloned one. I updated it today in the morning. And git restaurants app also. Let's open that. You've freshly cloned it. Edit. No, it's not Chrome. I need to click on this. File. Android Studio, open, projects, this section, git restaurant app, open, new window, that Firebase example that I was discussing, that we will look at this next week, has two versions, version 1 and version 2. Version 2, she just started. She didn't do much. She just essentially created these interfaces, but no implementations. But library part, partially done. And I noticed that she is using hilt with KSP. No, with capped. But previous version was using hilt with KSP. I wonder what is the reason. Perhaps KSP is new and hilt is not, maybe it's not working well, or maybe there is a bug. In the previous version, she was using hilt with KSP. But in version 2, she is using with capped. And we always use it with capped. So in an assignment, please stick to using capped, although maybe you see some code with KSP. KSP is supposed to replace capped. It is intention with time. And I don't know why she's using capped. Perhaps it's buggy. KSP is still buggy in that hilt is buggy with KSP. I don't know. And also, when I ported her code, I used it capped. I ported version 1, not version 2. Version 2 doesn't exist. She just created kind of starting point. All right, and for restaurants app, it is main. There is no other things. So let's create project. Okay, assignment 3. So file, keep this to open, file, new project, empty activity, this one, for compose, it is the only choice. We don't have other choices. Okay, this one. Next, let's call it assignment 3. I'm asking you to use your login name as the second part of the package name. And for assignment 3, it is super, super important. For example, you use just Sheridan. It doesn't have to be website address, like this. It is super, super important because assignment 3 is using database. And if a package name of one student is matching exactly to package name of another student, of course, database will not be the same because it's design decision of the person, right? It means app of one student can crash because of the app another student. So for this reason, it is super strict requirement for your assignment 3 to use your login name, which is supposed to be unique, right? Your Sheridan login name is the second part of package name. Sheridan, like your login name assignment 3. Because when I grade, using the same Android Studio emulator, I don't want assignments of one student crashing because of the assignments of another students, because they will go into conflict if it is the same package name, because it is the same emulator. Questions about this part? This is super important. Please do it when you create this one. Okay. API 30, keep this recommended. Are you with me? Yeah, please do it. Okay. Click finish and just wait. I see this component activity. A component activity does not have fragment manager with it. It means if we want to use fragments, we have to change this part. But there is no fragments in your assignment, so you keep it as it is. But this is what I mean for example, for the Firebase example where she uses using fragment dialogues. Dialogues has fragments. She had to change this part. All right. We definitely don't need this part, right? We need something like app root screen. It is everything that will be enclosed there, right? So let's open it. Values. Not here. UI theme. Main activity. Let's see how I did it here. So it is kind of copy-pastable. So in Restaurants app, switching to Android, right? In Java, in Kotlin Java. Yeah, I create UI existed, but I created additional packages for different screens, right? So let's use this idea. But before that, let's see that it is working. So I click run. So it is assignment 3. I'm just running whatever was by default. You see, it's not working. Sometimes it happens in Android Studio. You create project and it doesn't work. Just empty project that just doesn't work. What does it say? It should be at least version 35. What does it mean? I'm going through that because you don't have, if you encounter this in your assignment, so you know how to do this. Okay? Go to module app and change this to 35. This is what they mean. And now it will complain, but okay, you have no choice. Okay. Next, since you changed Gradle file, you need to synchronize your project. Each time when you change Gradle file, you click synchronize project. So synchronize, it's a elephant button. Elephant, it's logo for Gradle. This is warning. It's not actual error, although it looks like error. You can hide this red piece, like click on it and say override warning. Okay. Next, let's try to run it again. It shows hello Android, so sometimes it happens. And when it happens, you need to carefully read what is the issue, compilation. Otherwise, there's no way to guess. You read it, and if it's still not sure, whatever is not clear, you copy-paste this into Google search, and eventually you'll figure out through searching. Yes?
For the Kotlin SDK, with the runtime unit is not working.
Say again?
The one that you just fixed.
I changed it 34 to 35 in both places.
The 2014 one doesn't work for me. It doesn't let me run the application.
What's not working? Okay, let's check it.
It didn't? Do you have to update it to the last version?
You still run it. You still run it. First, you click elephant.
Yeah, I did that.
Yes. After this, you move mouse here. Say
The override thing, it didn't give
override. Doesn't give it. Okay, fine. Try to run it.
Did it work before you changed it?
Yeah.
Oh, you just changed it back then.
So it's working.
So it doesn't matter if that one.
It's not error. It's warning. You can try. Did you update Android Studio? Yeah, this is it. Okay. Android Studio should be patch 2. Okay. Try patch 2. All right. So hello Android. Next. Let's try to create organization of the code similar to not Mars Photos. Mars Photos is very simple. We do restaurants app, right? Imitation of kind of organization of a restaurant app. So what did I do here? I created data package for data access layer, right? UI was existing, but I added packages for screens. It's interesting, like in her code for Firebase, There are two versions. One, it is totally disaster in terms of organization because she didn't even follow naming conventions. But in the second one, somebody told her, no, you shouldn't be that naughty because it's example for people to use. So for second version of it, she was extremely well organized. So she is following all conventions from Google. She created extra folder for screens. I don't think it's important when you have a smaller app, and other Google examples don't do it. So I'm not creating extra package for screens. I'm just creating screens here for each of them. So in UI, I create new package, and I call it list, because I will both have list and will have details, right? A list. Oh, is it right? No, I created in wrong place, so I delete it. Second attempt. A new package. You see theme, and I shouldn't. I should put it instead of theme, right? So it is list. Now it is right place, right? Let's create one more for details. New package details. Okay. And for common, it is reusable pieces between list and details. Right. New package common. All right. So common details list. There is one for navigation. Yeah, we can do that if we want to follow. But you know how to do it. You can create it later. Next, there is one for data, right? So let's create one, new package, and assignment 3 data. So it's not in UI, right? And inside of data, we need remote because, and we need the local and remote because I will ask you to load data from the database and from the database display it. So we need local, remote, and repository as well. So new package local, new package. Instead of local, I type remote. And instead of, and one more, new package, data, and repository. Okay. This is not how she is organized code in Firebase, but strange, like she accessed Firebase with classes that she called services, which makes sense because it is whatever business logic is service, right? But in second version, she renamed services to repositories. So it means there is no strict convention, right? But if it is pure data access, it's probably better to call repositories and not services. Okay, so local, remote, repository, local, remote, repository, all right? So common details list. Maybe we can create navigation just to have the same, right? So let's do new package navigation. Okay. So we will populate it later, but before doing so, let's create the structure for this is app root screen referring to this stuff, right? Right. So how to do it? Probably new file, right? So let's see. I open main activity. So what I have? App theme surface, blah, blah, blah. This surface here, I believe it's no longer necessary. I keep it around because it was older code. Okay. I'm not sure why it is here. So let's open this one. We have a scaffold and greeting inside of it. We don't have a surface. Scaffold is hidden inside of this one. So this has scaffold. Okay. So I highlighted this piece, right click, and I said extract, refactor extract, function. No, refactor function, right? What does it say? Okay, here it is. So I highlighted, then I selected extract function. So, and let's call this app root screen. Okay, so this is app root screen. And next, you see this function is kind of inside of activity, which is wrong place, right? So right click on it and say move. Refactor move. Right click on this function, refactor move. Let's see what it says. It cannot move because it's private. So remove private, obviously. Okay, now right click, refactor move. Cannot reform refactoring, move declaration is only supported for top level declarations. Okay, don't care. Do it, brute force. Okay, here it is. And now right click on it and say refactor move. Here it is. Move this, and I will move also greeting and greeting preview because it's kind of in wrong place. Right? When should I move it? Maybe to UI because it is root screen, so it goes to UI package. Okay? I right-click at the function app root screen, and I set refactor move. And this stuff opens. And assignment 3 UI. I added UI package because I want this function jump into UI package. Okay. In file name, it's definitely not main activity, right? And it should be app root screen. App root screen.
Sorry, how were you able to refactor with the loop? Still, I think.
Okay, cancel. I moved this out.
Oh, okay.
I just drag it out. A refactor move. Okay. I type it app root screen, and I edit package UI because I want it to be in UI package. Okay. And I click refactor. Oh, I also move these two. Greeting and greeting preview, obviously we will delete this hello Android eventually. But it is they in wrong place anyway, so let's move it together. Okay? and click refactor, should be gone. And I got in UI, why it's called main activity? It's a bug, right? It shouldn't, I type it right place, right thing, but it's still called main activity. Of course, we can rename it. Refactor rename, and call it app root screen. Android Studio is not perfect. Sometimes it makes mistakes. Sometimes we do make mistake and blame Android Studio. It happens. All right? And so it is app root screen, contains app root screen and this stuff. Okay? And scaffold is here. So local compose, blah, 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 app root screen. So let's see if we if it's still alive. A preview works and this works, so it is still alive. We didn't kill it. Okay, so let's commit the thing, and after this, and call it initial commit. After this, we will mess with libraries. Okay. So how to commit thing? By default, Android Studio is not set up with Git. You need to click on this space, version control system, and select enable version control integration, and select Git and click OK. Okay. Now, this is in red, and many things in red. It doesn't mean it is mistake. It means Git does not know how to deal with these files yet. There is a magic file called git ignore that is listing things that's supposed to be ignored by Git. And these files are not listed there, so this is why it's not ignored. So let's do commit. I select everything. You see those git ignore files, they're listing things that's supposed to be ignored. They are not ignored, but they list stuff that's supposed to be ignored, like binaries. Okay. So select everything. Give something some name, like initial commit. Initial commit and commit. It says 5 errors, 9 warnings. Okay. You can review it, but in many cases, it's not actual errors. These are found by code analyzer, and they see their warnings and use it in port directive. This is definitely warnings that we can fix. These things in settings Gradle, just don't touch it. Okay, most likely it's not even a warning, it's fluke of code analyzer. And redundant label can be removed. Don't touch this one as well. Okay, but this we definitely can fix it. How to do it? You just double click it and it takes you to the place. This is referring to activity, and okay, it's not the one. Don't touch it as well. Maybe it can be used later, so it's not a big deal. If you don't want to see this kind of warnings, yeah, you click show commit options and just remove this to analyze code and check to do. After this, it will not do code analysis. You can do code analysis separately. If you do, I believe it is not in code. Code inspect code. It is this one. This is what was doing this automatically, inspect code. Right, so let's open Git, and this is what we did, initial commit. So let's see. Now have app root screen. Next, let's play with libraries and finish that part. By the way, after first commit, you can rename default branch. You can change default branch name in settings of Android Studio if you want, or rename it each time. Right-click and say rename and say main. It's a trend on web, people rename master branch into main branch because it's more meaningful, and master it's kind of old way of naming stuff. Also politically incorrect. Okay, so yes?
So when I'm trying to make the packages like in the package folder, all it does is append the name onto the folder itself. It doesn't make a new like package.
You need to be careful when you create one. For example, you right-click on it, set new package, and really carefully read it where you create it. If you type something here, it will append to data. If you type instead of data, it will be in this route. So carefully, when you create package, you can edit these things. Okay. All right? Did you figure it out? Okay? Is it fine?
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
So let's continue. Now let's deal with libraries. I think this is kind of tricky part. Okay, not tricky, it's tedious to figure it out, time-consuming. For assignment 3, you see there is a lib version, and this is already somewhat out of date. It's not difficult to change. You can change it to 20, but in many cases, it's some combination can cause compilation issue. They are not always compatible. Usually latest one are compatible, so it's not a big deal, but sometimes it's not working. So I open the same for restaurant tab. Since this program has the same functionality, we can copy-paste stuff in between. So this is. So let's see what we have. Okay. This is restaurant tab, and this is my assignment 3. Android Gradle plugin, Kotlin, slightly off, right? Core, KTX. It is for testing, Espresso Core. Testing GUI. Lifecycle runtime KTX, Compose Bomb, slightly off. What is this library? This library, OK, HTTP, is a little mysterious in the terms of why we need it. A Mars project doesn't have it, and it works fine. But Mars project has a library that accesses images from web. When I tried to do this project, obviously this is not using images from web. It didn't compile without this piece. So I assume that this library, OK, HTTP, will be included with library that comes with images, but who knows? Okay. So for now, let's copy paste it, and if it is not asked, we can always delete it. Not necessary, we can delete it. Okay. Room, it is for database. This is plugin used by Room. Hilt, this is to do navigation when we use Hilt. It includes like regular navigation and navigation with head. This is to do serialization. It is conversion Kotlin to JSON and JSON to Kotlin. This is specifically for JSON piece. Retrofit to get data from web and send data. Retrofit to Kotlin serialization converter library, specific library that is doing linking this to this piece and retrofit. So all of it is necessary in assignment. So let's do brute force copy paste. Copy. Paste. Okay. This is not found here. This is why they are in gray. And these pieces are found. Okay. And now the same approach. Now when you refer to library name, this is made up name. You can name it as the way you want. But when you refer to it, it must be consistent to the way how you name it, this one. When you refer to the library, you replace dashes with dots. And it will start with lib dot. So when you, for example, open build Gradle KTS, right? You see, let's find some. Let's go back and find something as an example. Okay, Android X Core KTX first, right? Libs Android X Core KTX. So it starts with libs dot, and after this, instead of dashes, you put dots. So this is strict. It has to be consistent, otherwise it will not find them. Okay. It means when you add library manually, you can name what you like, but you have to, of course, don't call it blah, 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 make some name based on the original name, right? But it is not strict. So this is the restaurant, and I will do the same manipulation for the libraries, right? Okay. So I'm going back to libs versions. This is not the same as this one, right? Library version. So I copy paste this part. Okay, copy. So obviously it will become longer because it has healed libraries, it has retrofit, JSON stuff, paste. Okay. So I copy pasted this piece and plugins. I already mentioned that this is made up name. I saw this in other codes. They called KSP-Kotlin. So after this, if it is call it KSP- or Kotlin-KSP. If it is called this way, it should be referred with word Kotlin in it. In this case, it's not. I just named it this way, so it doesn't have dashes, so it will not have extra dots in it. So I copy paste this piece in here. Okay, paste. Okay. After this, we can synchronize. Sync. We should. Not can, we should. Okay. Sync and see what happens. Yeah. Okay, something broke. Good. Okay. Because we didn't touch that file, and we should. Right? So this is how I call it extra plugins. And this is how I will refer to them here. Why it is underscore in red? You see, it is called compose compiler, but here it is Kotlin compose. It is wrong name. This is why it is compose. You see, now it's fine. Just because these pieces are made up, it doesn't always match. Okay, especially if you copy paste the code. Did you catch idea? When you go with plugins, it starts with libs, and after these plugins, and how you name it. You see? So this piece is supposed to be consistent with this piece. But we already have a consistent piece, so we can copy-paste it. This one. Okay? Copy, paste. All right? Then let's synchronize again with elephant. Again, this piece, the same issue, but we already know how to make it right, because it is in original versions file, it was called differently. Okay? So copy-paste this piece again. It is essentially the same stuff, but without extra true, whatever is there. Aliases, copy, on top of this aliases, paste. Okay. Now let's stop it from running. Let's synchronize. Healed, blah, blah, blah. Dagger healed because we didn't copy-paste libraries for healed. We just copy-pasted these pieces. Okay? We need to refer to this piece, right? We can copy-paste healed piece, this stuff in between, or we can just copy-paste entire piece, which is just fine, right? Since this project is using the same libraries. Are you with me? Now look at this and open this piece and find it here. Dependencies. Okay. We have room dependencies, we have retrofit dependencies, navigation compose dependency, okay? So here it is. Copy, paste here. This will be fixed with synchronization. It just didn't process it. This is why it's in red. And at the bottom, this will create more meaningful error messages when they happen. If something due to healed, some issue due to healed, this will make more meaningful message. So copy this part, and this is at the bottom. Paste. Okay. And now definitely this needs to be synchronized. Okay. So I click elephant button. See, it is synchronized. No, it's still working on it. And now it is happy. So libraries are done. Yes, question? So I copy-pasted dependencies in the file of app. This one from restaurant app, this. And at the bottom, I copy-pasted this. Dependencies, entire piece, and this. Of course, we can compare libraries but it is the same stuff essentially. So all child copy paste should do.
How did you fix the errors in the...
It's always synchronized. It has to be synchronized.
Oh,
Yeah. When you do editing, it goes out of sync and it needs to be synchronized after each.
Yeah, but when I click sync, it says unresolved reference composed.
Unresolved reference compose.
Yeah.
Where? Go to a file for versions file. Open that lib version something.
Sorry?
A file where we have versions.
Like...
Version number. Cancel. Close this one. Lib versions.
Oh, do I need to copy this from the other?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is referring to this file. It has to stay consistent.
I just copy the whole file?
Yeah, you can do it types. It is quicker. Okay? Now, it should not complain now. But it might crash because of we included HILT libraries, but we didn't create application class. But most likely it won't. But let's try. Let's run it and see what happens. Okay, it's running. Hello, Android. Are you with me? Still hello, Android? Fine. When you do code, do it incrementally. Change, check. Because if it is large copy-paste, it will most likely fail. Okay. So let's stop it. Next, let's deal with including HILT. Because next step is critical. We deal with HILT issues. We need to create application class. Application class, let's put it globally. So at the same level as main activity. Okay. So you right-click on assignment 3, on the package name, say new, Kotlin class. Okay. New Kotlin class. And say assignment 3 application. Assignment 3 application. Okay? So I got assignment 3 application. Git wants to add it to version control. Yes, it is because it's source code, right? Okay. Add assignment 3 application. Since we're using HILT, by the way, application class must be inheriting from application. We put parentheses after that because we call constructor of the parent class. When class is empty, we don't have to put parentheses. So it's empty class. And we need to add annotation on top of it. Hilt Android app. Okay? Hilt Android app. So if you miss next step, it will crash. Because every application must be registered, every application class must be registered in manifest class. Okay. So I created Hilt Android app here at the top level, Hilt Android application, right? Okay. And next, I'm opening manifest, go to application, so it's this application class, and I say name. See, Android name. Okay. Android name, assignment 3 application, starting with dot. It means in current package, default package. All right. And now it will not cause crash. Okay. Because when it is missing here, it will be crashing. Assignment 3 application. Okay. Next, in main activity, on top, we need to add Android entry point. And we need to import Android entry point. As you see, it is also belongs to Hilt. Hilt Android, blah, blah, blah. This makes a dependency injection work within the application, downstairs. Everything within, not application, within the main activity. All right? Uh-huh. So let's commit. So what did we do? We added Hilt and network libs, right? Hilt and network. Hilt and retrofit libs. Okay. So let's commit and say edit Hilt and retrofit. Okay. This is not end of the story. We need a library that is dealing with images from web, right? So we need to open Mars application and copy paste that beast. Okay. So let's do that part. Next, keep assignment 3 open and go to Mars Photos and find library that is dealing with images. This is called coil library. Here it is, coil compose. So we need this part, coil compose. Copy. Next, go to assignment 3 and libs versions. Order is not important, so I put it at the bottom. Coil compose. Okay. Now I need to find where it is coil compose. Here it is. Coil compose, copy. Yeah. Order is not important. I put it below serialization. And this is probably not necessary because it appears to me that coil compose carries this inside. Because Mars doesn't have this one. This one. So let's synchronize. Okay. Okay. I also need this inside of build Gradle KTS, because this is just how we call it, but we didn't include it yet. This is just a naming convention, how we want to call it. Okay? So we need to actually include this part. So I'm going here, Gradle KTS, and find that coil business, where it is. Yeah, here it is, libs coil compose. It's supposed to be libs coil.compose, right? Because I call it this, you see, coil compose. So it is libs coil compose. Okay. And find it, put it somewhere below hilt. Paste. Let's put some comment. Needed to display the images from web. Okay. Needed to display the images from web. So synchronize. Synchronization, sometimes it shows up here, but this is the same. Now it's copy. Okay, so we have that library. Okay. So perhaps next step is to what? To play with database layer, right? So this is Mars photos. We don't need any. Yes. What do you mean? The order is not important. You can put it where you like. I put it below Hilt Navigation Compose. In versions, I copy-pasted this from Mars. Okay.
Where is that on Mars?
Well, yeah, just scan through. Eventually, you'll find it. Yes. I think it is. Let's. I see it is closer to the top.
The Mars we have doesn't have that file.
No, it has to be.
I don't see the version.
How on earth it's possible that you don't have it there?
There's no library, like there's no libs and there's no. Can't even run it.
Because it's not main. I asked it to switch to Hilt. Please switch branch to using Hilt in Mars. Because main, it is default thing that came from Google. I changed this to using Hilt. Okay? Please switch branch to using Hilt branch. Okay. Okay. Please notice that this is module, but this is group and name. It's just equivalent. We can split this into two pieces and call it like group and name. Okay. It's not important. It can be split into two pieces, this module part. Okay? So let's try to address, we don't need Mars photos. Later you need to copy-paste code that specifically display images. And also in drawables, there are some icons that shows up when image is loading, image is, say, not found or something like this. So you need to copy-paste these pieces also. You see loading image, broken image. So this will be used by coil library. Your code will refer to them. instead of making them up, which is probably easier just to copy paste it from Mars. Okay. You probably saw where it is. Let's see where it is. Kind of Mars top, loading body, arrow body, Mars top R. You see photos grid body. In photos grid body, if you scroll it, you find a sync image. So this is how to call this library to insert image. Okay. And this is icons that you need to copy paste. Broken image and loading image. Otherwise, you cannot refer to them if you don't copy paste this. Okay. How to copy paste? Right click, copy paste. It works. Okay. Connection. Drawables. Drawables. Paste. Git wants to add these images, add them to Git because it is source code, right? And commit, what is the commit message? Edit the coil library, right? Coil library. Edit the coil library and it is commit. Next, data access layer, local remote. We need to define some structure of the data. This part is tricky, so let's do that one together. It is the structure of the data which is coming. For the Mars, it was kind of reasonably obvious and the same as for restaurant app. For example, let's see in restaurant app, in remote, you see a remote restaurant, we call serializable, serial name, okay? And in restaurant API, you refer to list of remote restaurants because it comes as just a list of those restaurants. For the flowers, it's flower example, it is not that simple, so let's do that piece together. So for, yes?
I'm having a problem with the coil control start.
Yeah? So what happens?
It says here that cannot resolve simple coil controls.
You scroll it up to the top.
Oh, yeah.
There is extra piece,
Oh.
like it's a variable the way you assign version number, where you assign version number. Okay. Okay. So this has address and that serves data. Flowers, and instead of carnation, I type data/catalog.json. Okay. Enter. No, I made mistake. Angular flower data. Angular flower data instead of catalog. Data. Yes, data catalog.json. So this is the data. So we need to describe this data in terms of classes, data classes. Okay. First, let's call this somehow. Okay. And then this will contain data field of flowers of these objects, right? And so on. So we need some name of this class. Yeah, let's call it catalog.json. Yeah. Yeah, catalog. Yes?
Can you
I just type it. There is a link on Slate. This one, Flower Data Web. You see word catalog. I replaced this with data/catalog.json. Data/catalog.json. It is just file. It's just file on web. So in order to make libraries, say, process the data and make Kotlin classes, we need to describe this data in terms of Kotlin classes. So we have to define those classes. Okay. So first, let's define this class. Okay. How we call it doesn't matter. So in remote, right-click, new Kotlin Java class or data class. Let's call it data class. And call it like catalog. Catalog. It's not .json, just the name of the class. Okay. Or catalog. Yeah, misspell it. Catalog.
Is it catalog or catalog JSON?
It doesn't matter. You can, you describe data, so you need to create a classes that are matching the data. So I'm creating a class for everything, and I call it catalog JSON. Okay. Data catalog JSON. It's unhappy because it's empty class. It needs to have something in it. Just leave it alone for now. I also need some class for this. And I created flower. Since this is kind of array of flowers, right? See? And so I call it this flower JSON. Because it's, maybe you want to create another class for, call it flower, inside of your program. But this is to describe the data that comes. Okay. So remote new flower, remote new Kotlin class file, the same data class, flower.json. It's not dot, just it's the name of the class, flower.json. It's also, yes, add. It's also complaining because it's empty. We will add stuff to it. Catalog JSON, flower JSON, and this is also object, right? So in order to describe it, let's call it picture JSON, right? Because it's kind of picture, describing picture. Okay. Okay, so right-click, new, Kotlin class file, data class, picture.json. Okay. Picture JSON. Okay. Now let's define this because it's easier. Two data fields. One it is string, and the other one is also string, right? Well, what we call it small, right? Small. Type string. Large is also string. Okay. We need annotation on top of it, right? So how we did it for restaurant? Remote restaurant has this. These pieces are necessary only for if data, if name in the JSON is not matching variable name. In your case, it is matching, so you don't need to provide this extra information. But we need word serializable on top of it for picture JSON. We can do it formatted to 2 lines. But it doesn't really matter how it's formatted. Okay, so we figured it out with pictures JSON. So let's keep progressing. And now we need to describe this thing, right? We have ID, which is string, label string, price, it is float. It is float, description string, picture JSON, right? Wiki, this is a trick part. If you don't want to use some data, you don't have to refer to it. But this library requires extra information so it doesn't crash when data that you don't use comes. So this is how it is done in restaurant app. You see, in restaurant app it says ignore unknown keys, true. So we don't have to describe Wikipedia unless you want to create functionality in your program that has a link to Wikipedia page that will open browser. Okay. So I will ignore Wikipedia because I will use the same option. Okay. So it is ID, a label, price, description, picture. Technically, this is not also useful because you can display large image in small size spreadsheet. So it really depends what you prefer. Okay. So I open Flower, and now I need to do the same. Serializable on top. Serializable on top. Is it right? Yes, serializable on top. And I need to keep reference to it. So ID is a string, so it is a val ID string. Val label also string. Val price. Float. Val picture. And it is picture JSON, right? And Wikipedia is missed because I'm not asking you to create Wikipedia link. Okay. So Flower JSON is done. Next, go to catalog. And it has only one field, flowers, and this is list. So it is a list of Flower JSON objects. Okay. So it is val catalog, a list of not catalog item, Flower JSON objects.
Does it matter that the variable's not called flowers?
What?
The variable that you call it catalog, does it matter if it's flowers or catalog to match the JSON file? Does that matter at all?
Okay. This is catalog. This is list. In Kotlin, it is list because it is resizable.
I'm just talking about the name because you called it catalog, but
no, I call it catalog JSON. It is catalog JSON.
variable. You said val catalog.
Sorry, this is wrong. This is definitely wrong. It's supposed to be a name flowers. This is definitely wrong. It has to be flowers. Right? It is data field from JSON file. Where do I have my? Yes, it is this one. You see, which is list of the stuff. Okay. So I define this.
They all need to be marked as serializable or just?
We need to mark it serializable. And we need to import this thing. Alt enter. Okay. I created three classes, all of them serializable. I didn't need to add extra annotations because variable names are matching names inside of the file. Okay. And now we can create another package and put it there, but it doesn't matter. So we need to define it, access to it, right? We need to have something like this. Okay. Create interface that retrofit will implement. Right? So in remote, I do new interface, Kotlin Java class file interface, and let's call it Flowers API. Yeah. Doesn't matter how it's called. Okay, it's just a name. Okay, a Flowers API. Okay, so I got Flowers API, and I need some magic like this, right?
Which file was that?
I'm working with the Restaurants API, and I created similar as Flowers API. Okay, so I need to have something like this get, because it will get content of it. Paste, and this is catalog.json, right? Catalog. It is end of the address. Get all flowers and list of, it will receive list of flower JSON objects, right? Flower JSON objects. List of flower JSON objects.
Wait, should be catalog JSON?
Yeah. Okay, I will explain. Address of this data, it is blah, blah, blah / restaurants.json. Address of our data, it is blah, blah, blah / catalog.json. Remember that this stuff is, okay, wait a second. You see catalog.json.
Yeah.
So it is address of the data that is coming.
I was talking about to the list.
This is wrong. This is wrong. It's supposed to be catalog.json. You're right, it's catalog.json, it's not list of flowers. Catalog.json contains list of flowers. Okay? It is catalog.json. Maybe it's probably get catalog, it's better, right? It makes sense, get catalog. Okay. Catalog.json. Next, we need to have something like this. Modules that will create implementation of this API. So let's see what is inside. This is the address of the folder of the data, so we need that. We tell that ignore because Wikipedia is ignored. This is the same. We're creating retrofit object for this constant. Provide restaurant API. We rename it probably. Name is not important. Even if you leave it restaurant, it will work because it's used only internally. This name is used only internally. And definitely we need to rename this thing. Okay? So what should I have created? So this is object. So I need to create object. So in remote package, I'm creating object. New Kotlin class file in a selected object. Okay? So I call it retrofit module. Retrofit module. Okay, add. And let's copy paste just this piece and see what happens. And see what happens in imports. Paste. Yeah, I did import everything, except this. We definitely need to change this to Flowers API. Flowers API. Flowers API. Provide flowers. Flowers API. This to media type is coming from HTTP3 media type companion. So it appears like it's necessary, right? But somehow in our Mars photos, when I open data retrofit module, it is exactly the same piece, to media file. When I open here, also referring to this piece, but there is no, I didn't include this library. It means it's picked probably from some other library where it is inside. So although you see it is here, right? But if I go to Mars stuff, it is not here. It is not here, you see? But in addition, but it has coil in it, see? So it appears like coil library is somehow is using it and importing it. Maybe we can delete it and it will just work. Yes? So it appears like this is not necessary if we put coil in it. Should we play with it? Let's try. Yes?
Sorry, I forgot we made our file strings.
Yeah?
Sorry? No, never mind. I was just confused by the Flowers API, but I forgot that I made mine something else.
So it works, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try to deal with this thing in C. So I'm opening libs version, and OK HTTP, I'll just come. No, it's not like this. It's probably like that. Yeah, pound. Pound like this. So I commented out OK HTTP and OK HTTP and see if it works. Okay? And I go to, yes? Yeah, I suspect it comes with coil because Mars doesn't have it. Okay, Mars doesn't have this library separately, but it has coil library. And example with these restaurants doesn't have a coil library, but it doesn't compile. I had to include it. We copy-pasted everything from restaurants. So let's see if it doesn't, of course, this is in red because we just comment out HTTP, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's synchronize. with elephant.
So did you just add a dependency?
No, I remove it. OK, HTTP. You see, I commented it out. It appears to me like that coil library is including it. So we don't need it here. And now I go to retrofit module, and you see it still works. Synchronize. It's not complaining. Otherwise, it would complain. So it tells me that coil library contains it. Right? So we created this part, retrofit module, remote repository, local. What is for local? So you probably want to store this, right? So you want to store this as a flower. So you need to create entities, right, for that part. So let's see. This is assignment 3, and I forgot to change this address. Definitely, it's not restaurant address. So this part needs to be changed. Right? So let's find where it is. It is everything except this catalog JSON, right? So up to here. Copy. Paste. Okay. So what did we do? Data remote. Kind of finish data remote. Maybe we didn't finish, but we can commit it, right? So commit, finish it, data remote. Okay. So I committed, and I call it finish it data remote. So let's deal with local. For the local, we are storing data into database, so we need to start with defining entity. This is far more complicated than in assignment because this program is dealing with checking items. Most complexity is due to checking the items. So we need to create some entity. Okay, so let's do that. Let's call it local flower, whatever. Okay, right-click new Kotlin class, data class, and call it local flower. Okay, local flower. Okay, local flower add. Okay, local flower, it is what we're going to store in the database. So somehow it is related to what we receive and what we want to display, right? So somewhat ID, label, price, description. For the picture, since it's a table, let's do it flat, so we have just 2 columns. It makes sense. And we're ignoring this piece. So the same, ID, label, price, but we need to define, what's this? Primary key, right? So val ID. ID is a string in this case. Val label, string, tab string, price, val price. It's not a string, it's a float. Description. We can do image URL or store image file, right? File name. So maybe a small image. Or small image name. Or small image. It's obvious, right? That it's name. And large image. And this is it, right? We have small image, large image, description, string, float. Okay. Now, we need to mark it with entity. It means it will be used to create table. And if we don't specify name of the table will be local flowers by default. But let's do it just flowers. Okay. We also need to specify which is primary key, which is, I believe it's at ID. No? Let's check. I forgot. Local restaurant, a primary key. It's just called primary key. Primary key. No auto generation because we receive it from web. Okay. Local flower, primary key. Okay. We don't need to provide this unless we want to overwrite names. If this name is kind of ugly, you can overwrite it. But when you overwrite it, don't forget to uninstall your app because if database is not compatible, it will cause crash. So if you change anything about your database, don't forget to uninstall your app from emulator. Otherwise, it will cause crashes when program starts.
Can you show what's in the assignment to the application file? I think I missed that part.
It's almost empty. It's Hilt Android app. This. A Hilt will inherit from it, and it will make more stuff on the site. Okay, so local flower done. And now we need to create something like DAO. This is far more complicated than we need because of selection logic. So we need to create some DAO and call it flower DAO. Okay, so interface flower DAO. Right click new, Kotlin class file interface flower DAO. Okay, and DAO. Okay, and we need to import this thing, right? Alt enter. Now let's see what we need. So we kind of reference to this. Select all from, and this is the name. We call it flowers. So name was flowers. Okay. Select all from flowers. Get all flower flow. Okay. Flowers flow. Okay. So we need something like this. Then get restaurant by ID. So something like this, flower by ID. Insert all. When we get list from web, we do need to insert it. Okay. We do need it. Favorite, this is about checkmark logic. We don't need it. This is again checkmark logic. Checkmark logic. This is checkmark logic. Delete all, it is for refreshing. We need this one, and we need this. Okay. So first three, right? And definitely we need to rename this thing. Right. Query flowers. local flower. This is flowers. This is just ID, not R_ID. This is local flower. Okay, so this is not renamed. Get all flowers, get flower by ID, flower. Why I didn't rename? Okay, flower by ID, absurd flowers, local flower. Okay. Then we skip lots of logic related to selections, right? Favorite, and but we need last two, right? Because it is refreshing restaurants, not refreshing flowers, and we need, in order to refresh, we need to delete, right? Okay, so I copy this thing, last two, right? Copy, paste. Okay, this is flowers, local flower, refresh flowers, delete all. Why does restaurants? Delete all. I need to change this, right? Delete all flowers. Delete all flowers. Delete all flowers. And absurd flowers. Okay. So we need only 5, right? Okay. Select all from flowers. Get flower by ID. Absurd flowers. Oh, okay. This is not restaurants, it's flowers. Right? Flowers. List. Get all flowers. Refresh flowers. Okay? Looks logical, right? Now we need to, the third step is to create database object, define database, right? So we need something like this. Database entities, local flower. Even if we have more than one entity, we can list them one after another. So it's more than one field. Because this is array, we can do comma separated, right? Doesn't have to be two, we can start with one, right? Obviously. Sports schema. So we need this, okay? So we're creating database. How to call it? Flowers or flower database. Flower database. Right click, new, Kotlin class, flower database, right? Flower database. Okay? Flower database. Add. So we need this, right? On top of it to tell the system that this is database. So copy. On top of it, it's paste. Definitely this is local flower. Version 1, export. And we need to mention DAO inside, right? Otherwise, how would we get the data? Okay, so abstract. What is suggesting, it's a function, you can use either function or val, it's either way. I would stick to that because this is easier copy-paste. Either way it works. Is a function call or property. Okay. Okay. So a class should be abstract because it has abstract data field. Flower DAO. No fun because it is val. Okay. Val flower DAO. Okay. So we define a database object. Now we need a module to make it injectable, to make stuff injectable, right? Okay. So we need a module, database module. So let's create database module, and this module is object. So create object. Right click on local, new Kotlin class, select object, database module. Database module. Okay. Object database module add. We need this on top. This makes it global. Injectable piece is global, singleton. Copy. And this makes it only one. So the same word, but different places, different meaning. Singleton component means one piece global for entire program. One place global for entire program. But this is just one piece, one object to be injected. Paste. Singleton component module. I think this is just copy pastable. We just need to rename it. Okay. We need to create database, and this is name of the file on hard drive. Definitely, we just have to call it differently, right? Because it's not. But how it is called doesn't matter. It's name of the files on hard drive when database is created. Okay. And definitely, this is not restaurant, so it is copy paste with renaming, right? So let's copy this. Copy and paste. Okay. This is flower database. Why does database builder does not happy? Because this is wrong. Flower database. I still don't understand why it's unhappy. Flower. Provide flower. Okay, provide flower database, application context, room database builder, application context.
I think the flower database is supposed to be an extension of root database.
Yes, you're right. I missed that part. Yeah. So in flower database, I missed it in inheritance part. You're right. So for flower database, I missed extension inheriting from room database. Inheriting from room database must be here. This is why it's wrong type. Okay? So it should inherit from room database for obvious reason. And going back to module, now it's happy. Application context, flower database. This is flower database. And this is flower DAO. And this naming names of these functions doesn't matter. It's for internal reasons, but it's better to rename them. Provide flower DAO. Flower DAO, flower database. Okay. Okay. So again, this is careful copy pasting. Okay. And next, we need to create repository. So first, let's figure out which methods we need, right? So first we declare it. So I open repository, and we have repository module, repository interface, repository implementation. So let's go here and create flower repository. A new Kotlin class interface, flower repository. Flower repository. Okay. Add. Okay. So what do we need? So the same. Look up restaurants. We need some class that will contain like data for the GUI. So probably we should declare some class flower. What is inside you decide later, but we just need to have it to declare repository, right? So let's create some domain class and call it flower. Okay. So in assignment 3, I'm creating package domain. It doesn't have to be called in domain reason. I could put it in data. It's still valid if I put it in data. And just call it new data class flower. Kotlin data class flower. And we need to put something inside, otherwise it's not compilable. I will go to local flower and just copy paste this stuff, this thing. It makes sense, right? Right? Yeah. So I copy paste. Here. And now, in flower repository, what should I do? Restaurant repository. Get all restaurants flow. We need flow of that by ID. No, no. Yes, yes. Clear it is for clear button for debugging purpose and for demo purpose. Okay, so we carefully copy paste and rename restaurant to flower, right? So we need this and remove these two afterwards. So copy, paste, get all flowers, flowers flow, list of flower, import it, import class flower, get flower by ID, flower by ID, flower, okay. Is favorite gone? Is favorite gone? This is gone. Refresh flowers. It is for refresh button. And this is to clear databases for debugging. So we can refresh after clear and it loads to see if it is actually loading. Okay. So you got the idea, right? So keep going at home. It's probably time to finish. It's already 40, like kind of thing. Next implementation is the same idea. For this, But of course, it is a lot simpler because you don't have to deal with the logic of flags. Selected, not selected. It is just get all, right? But you need to select because you get catalog. So you pick flowers from catalog. After this, you do conversion. So you need to create conversion functions. Okay? So it's a kind of a little long, but it's already third assignment, so it should be. Plus, I gave kind of pass to go. Right. Questions? No? So I will stop here. GUI is similar. It's nothing special. This part is definitely different because I don't deal with check marks, and of course in GUI you don't have checkboxes, right? Or checking options. This is Android manifest file. Open this restaurant app, also Android manifest file. I see. Uses permission internet. By default, Android app cannot access internet. So if this line is missing, it cannot access internet. It will not work. It will crash. But crash message will be telling you that it cannot access to internet, so you can Google what is missing. So it's not a drastic issue in terms of you cannot fix it if it happens, but it is drastic in terms of if it's crashing and you don't look up crash messages, and crash messages are in cat window. Here, cat window, okay? And definitely this supposed to be here. Otherwise, it will be crashing, okay? Sorry about this. Definitely, in all applications that access internet, this should be there. Surprisingly, when I open Firebase examples, it's not there. I assume that somehow they deep coded this in Firebase libraries, so